What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Hoinoi back at you with another episode, about to drop some piping hot knowledge nuggets on all you suckers. This video is gonna be mostly me talking about things that suck about the reptile hobby and its related community. We're gonna focus on my two latest pickups. I've bought two new snakes this month. One was a trade, one was a purchase, mixed with a trade. And they have both been disasters. Now, let's get into it. This is Mr. Friendship. Mr. Friendship is an extremely gorgeous and extremely well-tempered pewter ball python. He's an adult male, more or less, but he wasn't advertised as an adult male. He was advertised as a proven breeder female. So, I was looking for a breeder female to add to my collection for my coming breeding season. I had such success with the two breeders that I do have, I wanted a third. And this seemed like an okay option. You know, not too expensive, not too crazy. Just something that wouldn't produce normals or less desirable snakes. And it just seemed like the right thing to add to my collection. So I was talking to this guy on Kijiji who had a number of things listed, and we worked out a trade in which he would trade me a 36 by 18 front opening Exoterra vivarium, which is like a 3-foot tall front opening glass cage for an arboreal snake, because I was looking for something like that for toothpaste, my green tree python. So he was gonna give me that, plus this snake, which he was advertising as a proven breeder female, as well as $70 cash. And I was gonna give him my Super Enchi Pastel hatchling female, my Lemon Blast hatchling female, and a normal Enchi hatchling female. Pretty good deal for both of us, I thought, because I needed that enclosure. And while some of those females would make good breeders in the future, it's several years away, and I would be better off to get another adult breeder so that I could breed him this season instead of waiting 3 years. So this kid, in his early 20s, drives all the way from Hamilton to Toronto to make this trade with me. He pulls up and says that because of the coronavirus, he doesn't want to come into the lobby of my apartment building. He wants me to meet him at his car. And because of the way the world is right now, I agreed to that. I didn't see it as suspect at the time, but I should have. Anyway, I meet him out, this is after dark, at about 10 p.m. at night. I meet him out by his car. He pulls out the snake in a clear plastic tub, as well as the Exoterra enclosure that we discussed. But it's not 36 inches tall, it is 18 inches tall. It's a cube, it's 18 by 18. And I said, dude, like, what is wrong with you? This is not what we agreed on, because I said I'm looking for these dimensions. He said let me go measure it. Yes, it's those exact dimensions. So the kid was a little demented, I guess. I don't really know how he thought he was going to get away with that, but I said, okay, I'm not interested in this enclosure at all. He asked me what I was going to put in there. I said a green tree python. He said, oh, you don't need that much space, you can use this one. I was like, yeah, but it's not what we agreed on, so I'm not going to take it. And he was upset about that, but then I felt bad that he had driven an hour to get here, and I was like, okay, let's renegotiate. I'll give you the Lemon Blast and the normal for the snake. And he said, oh no, the whole reason I came out here was to get that Super Enchi Pastel. So I felt that wasn't a good deal for me, but what the hell, I need a breeder, and I've been having a hell of a time getting somebody to sell me a breeder, considering it is breeding season. Breeding season for ball pythons is something that exists in the wild, but you don't actually have to adhere to it in captivity. You can breed year-round, which is something I knew at the time. I'm about to breed the breeders that I do have again right now, and I thought it would be cool to have another one at the same time and just keep things going in the schedule that I have set. So, and mostly I'm just excited to produce more cool snakes. So I said, okay. So I took this pewter ball python, which is a very low-end 2-gene morph, retails for, I don't know, 200, and you can get it on Morph Market or something like that for much less than that. And I gave him an animal that's worth like 250. I took a loss, and I felt I was doing that. And I felt it was a loss in the moment, but I just kind of felt pressured that this poor kid drove an hour out of his way, and he might be very angry if I just turned him away completely. And I did want the snake. So I said, okay, I'll give you that. I'll keep my other snakes. So he got the Super Enchi Pastel and I got this girl, or so I thought. Now it's about 5 degrees or even colder out there. So I was not about to open up the tub and sex the snake, but I had to look at it. It was the one in the pictures. It was the morph that it was advertised as. And we'd had a lot of conversation. We'd talked a lot. He'd given me his Instagram and we talked on multiple platforms. I had his real full name. So I felt, okay, I'll have to trust this guy. And that's what I did. And I went back into my building. I went up the elevator and into my own apartment. I took the snake out. First thing I noticed is that it has mouth rot. Under its chin is just a big black scab of essentially an abscess, which comes from living in a dirty tank filled with poop and rubbing your face in it. And it's a very common issue with ball pythons or any snake that's living in bad conditions. So immediately I'm furious that he has sold me a sick snake. And then I decide I better check. Obviously he knew as soon as I actually got this snake home and really inspected it, I would see that it was in trouble. And if you look here, come on, friendship. See that? Yeah, he's got a mouth abscess. That is not cool. Not a healthy snake. It's something that I can take care of. It's something I've dealt with before in rescues. But I wasn't happy about it at all. And it's something that he should have told me about. And so in that moment, I'm already kind of fuming. And I decide to pop the snake's cloaca open and confirm that it's a female. And when I do that, 2 sperm plugs. A lot of snakes get something called sperm plugs, which is where they're essentially their sperm ducts are kind of open all the time, and they'll just like essentially pre-cum builds up inside the little genital slit and turns into like a cheese. And if you squeeze them, 2 little chunks of cheese will pop out, and that's sperm plugs. And that's a sign of a mature male that's ready to breed. And that's what happened. 2 chunks of spermy cheese shot out onto my wrist, which is gross and also infuriating because this guy sold me a sick snake as a female that was in fact a male. And the bottom line is that males are worth less than females because they do not produce eggs. I also don't need any more males. I need more females. So I got swindled, essentially. And I called the guy, and he picked up, and then I told him what was going on, and he's like, sorry, man, I'm already on the highway. I'm driving back to Hamilton, and he hung up. And then he blocked me. I called again, and he blocked my number. Then I started to do a little more digging, and I saw that he had a very illegal, deadly venomous snake called a gaboon viper. I think it's the species of viper with the highest venom yield of any venomous snake, or it certainly has the biggest fangs of any snake in the world, and it can absolutely kill people. He had one of those, posted all over his Instagram. He also had a baby Cuvier's dwarf caiman. So he had a crocodilian, which is illegal, which is completely illegal in Ontario. And he very quickly blocked me on Kijiji and on Instagram so that I couldn't pursue him any further about, getting him to bring my snake back. So I just had to kind of take the L on this one. And I realized that this is a super sweet snake who wasn't in a very good situation with this guy, and he's in a much better one with me. I do, however, feel bad that the hatchling that I produced, who is another very sweet girl, is with him now, because it seems like he doesn't know what he's doing. Because we can see here, not only does this snake have mouth rot, it has nose rub on the top here, which is when you're in too small of an enclosure and you're dragging your face across the lid of it trying to get out all the time because you're not happy in your setup. So, what did I do but go to Canada Fish and Wildlife and report him for a felony possession of a venomous snake that could kill people if it got out, and also an illegal crocodilian, which you can't keep because they don't make good pets, because even the smallest ones in the world get 6 foot long, and he's gonna flush it down the toilet one day or something. That's what happens, right? That's the famous story. You get a little cute baby crocodilian, and then all of a sudden it's a big monster crocodilian, and you get rid of it one way or another. But because they're illegal, you do it by legal means, and it's not a good situation for the animal. So these are things I would have reported regardless of if he had pulled one over on me. But since he did essentially pull one over on me, it's just a little piece of sweet revenge. I'm over it. I really like this snake. He doesn't fit my breeding plan, so I may rehome him to a good home once all his medical issues are sorted out. But I feel like I learned a lesson. I lost a little bit more of my faith in humanity, which is fine. I didn't have much left. It was on the way out anyway. And I got a really friendly snake who I named Mr. Friendship in accordance. So that is my second most recent pickup. Let's move on to my most recent pickup. All right, welcome to my bathtub. Next up is my latest snake that I got advertised as a female Cal albino boa constrictor. A really gorgeous animal. Look at this thing. It is phenomenally beautiful. Such a cool snake. Now, they were asking $400 and I struck the insane deal of $200 cash plus a big glass aquarium that I had lying around, about a 55-gallon aquarium. It was something I just had lying around gathering dust, and it had no lid and was really no use to me. So essentially, I got this snake for $200, a female albino. That's a great deal. I talked at length with the girl who was offering it. She runs a rescue, apparently, for rats. So she breeds fancy rats and sells them as pets, but she also rescues them. When she brought this snake to me, we had a really good interaction. I gave her the tour of my apartment. She shouted me out on Instagram and everything. And it felt like a really good, mutually beneficial trade/purchase. Anyway, I inspected the snake when she brought it over. I looked everywhere. I looked in the nostrils. I peeled the little flap under the jaw back because that's where mites hide a lot of the time. If you don't know, commonly in captivity, reptiles get something called reptile mites. It's essentially reptile bed bugs. It only affects reptiles, and it's like little bugs that suck their blood and dig under their scales, and they're very prolific. They breed very quickly and can lead to an infestation and can take over your whole collection, or can jump across the room to your other snakes, essentially, and it can be a huge headache. They're not the end of the world, but they're hard to get rid of, and they can transfer disease from one snake to the other and transfer themselves from one snake to the other. Like, it doesn't kill your animal, but everybody's really nervous about it all the time. And so am I. I've only dealt with it once in Toothpaste, the green tree python. He had mites when I brought him home from kind of a shady pet store, and I dealt with it, and it took a long time, but it's cleared now. And I was hoping I would never have to deal with it again. But despite giving this snake a very good once over in a fully lit indoor location and seeing no mites, seeing no evidence of mites, I put her in her thing and I opened it up this morning and there's a giant mite crawling on her head. And then on closer inspection, there are much smaller, barely visible to the naked eye, almost microscopic mites crawling all over her and her paper towel substrate. I saw at least 20. That's the most I've ever seen. And I just don't get it because I thought you could visually inspect for mites. You know, I checked the cloaca. I should have, maybe you could pull back the skin from around the eye because I know they go around the eye a lot. But anyway, they got past me. I had no idea whether the girl who gave me the snake knew it had mites. I'm going to assume she didn't because she focuses on mammals and she only has 2 snakes, both of which are rescues that she's trying to rehome. So no shade to her for that, but it does suck, and if I could go back, I would not get this animal for that reason alone. The next thing I did, because I'm learning that you can't trust anyone, whether they're trying to scam you or they just don't know what they're doing, I sexed the snake. Now, I had done this when I first picked it up. I tried to pop it and nothing came out, so I said, okay, yes, it's a girl. I'm happy. And today, the snake, who's been on the heat pad and is not stressed out anymore, I popped it again and fucking sperm shot out onto my wrist again. More sperm plugs. So this guy, I guess he was more relaxed this time. Previously, he must have been holding those muscles really tight, and that's why I couldn't get anything to pop out. This time when I popped, fucking sperm chunks came out flying everywhere. So this is a boy. This is a boy with mites. So it's a sick snake, and it's not what was advertised. This one's my fault because I don't think the girl, I think she genuinely believes it's a female, and I highly doubt that she knew it had mites. So no shade to her, but I do wish I could go back on this one and have my $200 back. However, he is a really sweet snake, and he is still a gorgeous animal. It's just gonna be a pain to treat these mites, and it's also not worth as much. The bottom line is that female snakes are worth double what males are. You know, they get twice as big, and they are the ones that produce eggs. Breeders don't want multiple males. They want one or two powerhouse males who they breed to multiple females. Do I have plans to breed boa constrictors? Not currently, but I was excited to have this as a female because I know they get huge. One day, if it was a female, it could get 10 feet long and be as, as thick as my calf. It'd be a really impressive, huge snake. The absolute upper limit of what's legal to keep in Toronto. And that'd be a couple years away, and that's fine, but this male is not going to get that big at all. And he's also hardly worth the deal that I got for him. So that's a bummer. All right, let's go back to the window where I was filming before, and we'll wrap this thing up. So there you have it. My two latest pickups, both essentially regrettable failures, but realistically, they're both great snakes, and I'm happy to have them. Have, however, learned some lessons recently, and that is that you should trust nobody, either because they might not know what they're talking about, or they might be trying to pull one over on you, as I put it earlier. When you buy from a reputable reptile store or a reputable breeder, that goes a long way. And you pay a premium for the confidence that the animal is going to be what you are told that it is, and it's going to arrive healthy. So things like Craigslist, Kijiji, which is what's more popular than Craigslist here in Ontario, should you use them? I say yes, because despite these two recent kerfuffles, I have gotten some amazing deals on Kijiji. I sell on Kijiji. I have sold a lot of stuff on Kijiji, reptile related and otherwise. So, should you use Kijiji or Craigslist to buy reptiles, to buy snakes, to trade snakes, to all this stuff? Yeah, I'm not gonna stop because I am a thrifty son of a bitch, and I can handle this stuff. When a snake comes to me sick, I know what to do. Mouth rot, I can treat that with medication that I have on hand. Mites, I can treat that with medication that I have on hand. I am at a point in my adventure with this hobby that I know a lot and I can do a lot. And if you're not there yourself, you would do well to think hard before you do dealings on sites like these, because there is no quality control. You do your research, you have your conversation with the person, you ask all the right questions, and you still might not get what you asked for, and you still might get an animal that isn't in top shape. So these are all things to consider. Now, is that the case? Is that what was happening here? Did I see these snakes as rescues that needed me? No, I saw them as snakes that I wanted for breeding purposes or to have as a pet, and they really essentially turned into rescues. So that might happen to you. That's all I'm saying. Am I losing sleep about what's going on? Am I having fits of uncontrollable screaming in the shower and banging my fists on the frosted glass with the knowledge that I got duped? No, because these snakes that needed me are now under my care. As it stands, the albino boa is going to stay with me as a pet, and Mr. Friendship is going to take several months to totally recover from his mouth rot, because snakes really don't heal physical wounds until they shed their skin, and this looks like it's going to take 2 or even 3 sheds to get rid of completely. But at that time, I will consider rehoming him to a good home, which I have personally vetted. Final thought on that is that this is all a lot of extra work. This is a hassle. And what I put into these trades in terms of money or traded stuff, I didn't get the same amount back. We can write these 2 pickups off as a loss, but these are live animals, and that's not what it's all about. We're not trading stocks here. I'm not Warren Buffett. I'm just a guy who wears a lot of Hawaiian shirts and keeps a lot of cold-blooded animals in a bachelor apartment. Hey gang, this is Alex in the editing room. I wanted to just cut in real quick while I'm here editing this video and listening to the point I'm trying to get across. I feel like things get a little lost in the weeds, and the bottom line is I've had great experiences on Kijiji and Craigslist, and I've had terrible experiences. So like I said, I personally am going to continue to use it. It is a personal choice and something that you're going to have to do at your own risk. Full stop. And yes, while I could have been more succinct in making that point in the video that you're watching, I didn't want to refilm the whole thing because I thought I looked really good in that Hawaiian shirt. All right, so I think that's all I have to say about this. I will keep you guys in the loop about the treatment and the recovery of both of these guys. And thank you so much for watching. My name is Alex, aka Horrible Noise, aka Hoinoi. This is Hoinoi TV, signing off. Stay woke, keep it cool. I hope this was informative. Whether you are a veteran reptile keeper or you're just thinking about your first snake and you don't know if you should do Craigslist or a pet store, I don't get to make that decision for you, but hopefully this information helps you make that decision. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification if you haven't already, because I got more cool videos coming down the pipe that will be informative, exciting, and possibly erotic. Peace out.